Hello everyone, and welcome to another game of World of Warships. Today it's one of my replays and I'm in the Schlieffen, a tier 10 German battleship. And look at that, there is Hindenburg. It's fully broadside. It was slightly reversing, but I think it's in the process of stopping and going forward again. And I also got some secondaries going towards that destroyer. Now of course my shells against the Hindenburg produced exactly one overpen. Be that as it may, both teams have already lost a ship, and it doesn't look like there are too many enemies here at the sea cap, right? This is a pure tier 10 battle, 4 destroyers, not too many battleships, no carrier and no submarine. So it's time for me to go around this island. It's not like I have shots at anything where I'm at. The daring might be pushing in further. The thing is, there is some stuff happening in the center, but most looks like they have a Marseille and a Hindenburg here with a daring. Possibly a Smolensk that's going to come our direction. It looks like the Smolensk is focused on the center, although since we only have a ship there, we shall see. Now I have technically a Worcester and a Yoshino here with me. So we could have some radar. And with no any battleships, the cruisers don't have to be that careful. Well, I suppose there's the Kremlin in the center, but that seems busy. Anyway, so I'm gonna come around here. We can see a smoke screen, so the daring must be pretty close. I'm gonna hydro. There are the torps for now. Hydro's torp reload isn't the best, so there might be an opportunity here to grab it. I've got one set of torps going. You never know, although it doesn't look like the Marseille is gonna turn in a way sailing to them. And we found the daring. So I'm gonna focus my secondaries there. Might as well throw in some other torps because you never know. So daring's torps shouldn't have reloaded by now. I also got a hydro going on. And the daring foolishly is pushing even further into me. I mean, if it had torpedoes ready, this could be a problem. But, you know, like this, it was just secondary food. Now, I don't know how close that daring was to reloading its torpedoes. It might have hoped to reload in time. It also was a little bit boxed in with those islands, so might not have seen a way to escape. The daring was in a little bit of an exposed situation there, I guess. Now I got some torps for the Marseille, assuming the Marseille actually keeps going this way, and I've got a nice double fire on myself. Since I'm a Schlieffen, obviously, that's how it is. Well, let's damage con 2 fires. I'm not detected right now, although I probably will be soon. We shall see. Now there is the Hindenburg, the Marseille, and possibly the Smolensk. The Marseille, it doesn't look like it. Well, I mean, it could still be pushing this way, or it could have turned around. And it has turned around and is retreating, but it is very close. It's also very broadside with limited room to maneuver. Now, the Hindenburg is not going to detect me right. Oh, I'm detected by a Smolensk. So that's a problem, because Smolensk has pretty scary damage output, let's put it like this. But I have the Marseille broadside. I'm also a little bit too broadside to Marseille, so my shells, well, no citadels. Otherwise a decent hit. I'm already on 2 fires. So this is going to be a problem. And this is where Viper comes to the rescue. You can see how fast my ship gets melted by a Smolensk, a Hindenburg and a Marseille. But the Marseille doesn't have torpedoes. Well, the Smolensk has. But I think it was too far away for them. See, the thing is, secondaries don't give you any vision penalty while in smoke, which means I can use my secondaries from smoke without being detected, and I'm most certainly not gonna fire my guns right now. Meanwhile, Viper has actually torpedoed the Smolensk, so that is one scary thing that's dealt with. My damage con is soon gonna be ready again, and the one fire is also not burning for much longer. Heal is almost ready. But you can see, even in a battleship, you can be taken out relatively quickly by a bunch of ships focusing you, especially if there is a Smolensk firing you. That's just gonna keep those fires coming, and there isn't much you can do about it. Now, speaking of doing something about things, that Marseille is in a tricky spot, because if it keeps going forward, which it probably will, it's gonna be full broadside to me, but it doesn't have any room to maneuver behind this island to go elsewhere, and okay, it's just going downwards. I guess sinking is also a way to get out of this. Meanwhile, you remember that Yoshino and that Wooster that were with us here on the seaside, they decided to not help out. They also decided to not fight for the B cap. Instead, they decided to go to the other side of the map on an epic journey of pointlessness. Meanwhile, we've lost everything at A, so this is not looking ideal. We are going to lose A. Well, nothing to be done here. The Hindenburg is thankfully close enough to be inside my secondaries, and my plan here is basically take care of the Hindenburg. I could have just directly went to B, but if I keep that Hindenburg in my secondaries, I should be able to deal with it, and that would clear out this area. I mean, I don't know where the Marseille is, but probably not coming this way just yet. So, idea is deal with the Hindenburg on its own, farm it with secondaries, and then afterwards go towards the center. Meanwhile, Viper is already on his way, although that Nevsky will make it a bit problematic. And the Yoshino and the Wooster have, well, I mean, they were up here, decided to not help at C, now they went all the way down to A. And they might, well, we still have a ship down there. Of course, they're already sort of in the process of turning, so what do you think? Are they going to help? Are they just gonna turn away again? Meanwhile, our secondaries are doing some good work here. The main guns are usually much of a disappointment, but they can slightly support the secondaries, I guess. Now, my own hit points are not the best, but the Hindenburg is gonna sink before me. My Hydro is also running just in case. Hindenburg only has 6 km torpedo range, but I'm going towards it, so if it ever managed to get an angle and launch torpedoes or something, I would see them coming. Also, technically there's a Sherman, and that Hindenburg is done for, so I can now damage from. Yeah, there's technically a Sherman with long-range torpedoes, although it only has 2, it would be utterly sad if that got me right. Okay, so we are in a 4 versus 4. The poor ship down there that needed help at A was abandoned by the Wooster Yoshino, but you know, they abandoned the C cap, and they went all the way to the A cap only to abandon the A cap. Now they are on their way back. I would have been very useful here in the push at C, they would have been very useful to our ship there at A, and they would have been very useful at B. So that's why they avoided all of those engagements. Oh well. So, I have 1 more heal remaining. I still have 1 more damage con. And technically I have 1 more Hydro. Hydro is still running, and then it's gonna go for a cooldown. I might have some need of this Hydro. We can actually speed this slightly up while I go towards the center. And look at that, there is a Nevsky that has been spotted. So the Nevsky is fully broadside to me. It's also fully broadside to the Yoshino and the Wooster, and it looks like the Yoshino got a good salvo in there, which is nice. Now if I can get... Yeah, there we go. So at least the Yoshino was useful a little bit, because that Nevsky would have been tough nuts to crack. It's also a raider that kept Viper from fully doing things at B. So there we go. I mean, there is also still the Sherman, right? Yes, the Shimakaze Viper can't gunfight the Sherman, unless the Sherman is very low. And the Sherman's Hydro Smoke combination is still a terrifying thing. I've got a Hydro in 1 minute. We still have a slight lead on points, but that's soon gonna change because the enemy has more caps and that Sherman easier to stop Viper from pushing any further. Not sure how healthy the Colombo and the Marseille are currently. Is Sherman older is something that I can hopefully get rid of. Now my Hydro isn't just ready yet, but I'm also not detected just yet. Hydro is not as essential in fighting the Sherman as it would be with more torpedo-focused destroyer. The Sherman does have, 2 torps per side, but it doesn't have great angles and it's not that many torps. Would still be embarrassing if I get torped here, right? So I've run into the Marseille. Hydro isn't quite ready yet, but it's almost ready. Now my secondaries are currently focused on the Marseille. I could switch them over to the Sherman. The Sherman is a very important target to get rid of here. But it's also very close, which means my secondaries don't necessarily need that much of the improved accuracy. And again, I don't know. I want to finish off the Marseille with secondaries and the Sherman more with primaries, I guess. And the Sherman's dead. My Hydro was also activated during this fight. So that's nice. I'm not sure, right? I could have switched the secondaries over to the Sherman. Of course, you lose a little bit of the build-up accuracy when you switch. It's like both targets were, I suppose, well lit. And both targets needed to sink. And in the end, it worked out. The Marseille was now also taken care of, and that just leaves the Colombo. And with this, we've basically secured this win. I mean, I'm currently camping here, and the Colombo can't see me. There are technically 6 minutes remaining in this battle, and we have the points lead. Once I flip B, we'll have the camp lead. And I mean, Viper alone is probably going to be able to deal with this battleship. Meanwhile, the Yoshino and the Wooster have, for the first time into this in this game, decided to make the sensible move and go towards an objective. I mean, better late than never, I guess. I don't know. So I got the cap, and now I'll just come around and roll this Colombo a little bit. See if I think here it doesn't really matter. And with combined forces, I mean, you know, Viper could just win this probably by himself. But you know, this Colombo is also getting low. It's inside my secondary range. And now it might also eat some torps. Which brings us to the results. So between Viper and myself, we actually sunk 7 enemies, so that's nice. And it was a rather close one. I mean, in the end, we prevailed with 4 remaining ships, but we were down to a 4 versus 4, and if that Nevsky hadn't been taken out with the citadels, who knows how this might turn out. So, at least I have to give it to the Yoshino. Those citadels on the Nevsky were kind of useful, and of course, if the Yoshino and the Booster would have actually participated in the battle in the first place, it would have probably never gotten that close to begin with. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed a lovely Schlieffen game, and I'll see you guys next time.